What's up, people, and welcome to Developer Habits. My name is Ketmar. I'm a full stack engineer from Estonia who's currently freelancing. This is why we are going to talk to Kyle Prinsloo, a developer who's also known in the developer community as someone helping others become freelancers by sharing tips on how to, become a freelancer, how to find clients, what are the skills you need, and so on. And these are exactly the topics we are covering in this video. With that said, let's jump to the interview.
Hey Kesmar, and hey everyone! Thanks for joining us, and it's awesome to be here, and it's awesome to chat.
Yeah, God, I've been following your journey, and as I said, you've been really active in Twitter. And what I really like about your account is that, for example, a person who's been freelancing for a really long time, I still like read your Twitter tweets, and I'm like, this is a really good thing that I should utilize. For example, about pricing or communicating with clients or whatnot. So, firstly, I'd really like to thank you for what you're doing.
Wow, well, thank you so much. That's that's a nice compliment, to hear. I can't take all of the praise. All I do is I just type in freelancing on an AI generated content generated and just sputs it out. So it's not all me. No, just joking.
Oh yeah, it's 1st of April today when we're recording, so there may be some jokes.
Sorry, I need to stop. I've been going too bad today.
Yeah, you stopped freelancing, right?
Did you see that tweet?
I was like, wait, what's going on?
I'm still too scared to reply to people because a lot of people have DM'd me and said congratulations, and I don't know what to reply.
It's that awkward situation when you tell a joke and no one understands, and you're like, okay, do I have to explain it now?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't take things too seriously, and I think it's important just to have some fun,
Yeah, I mean, taking things seriously, and there's a balance one needs to find. I, for example, in Developer Habits, I talk about really serious topics, but sometimes I'm like, I should not take myself so seriously. So I'm really glad that was a good reminder for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. Like I think it's important. Depending on who you ask, but my perspective is, I don't think one should take themselves, themselves too seriously, but they should take things and others more seriously than themselves. That's just my perspective.
That's really well said. I should already one highlight from this interview.
as long as you show the tweet as well.
But Kyle, I'm now like really gonna cut to this freelancing topic, because like you are someone that I, as I said, I follow. But maybe you can talk about like your background and journey, what you've been up to, both like education and professionally, and how did you end up where you are at the moment?
Wow. Okay. That's a great question, and it's a loaded question. So I'm just going to expand, maybe give an overview, and then feel free to ask, any questions from there. But in short, my name is Kyle. I help freelancers and web developers become freelancers. My background is in various different things. I left school early. I didn't complete high school. I tried a few business things. I didn't have the luxury of finances or anything like that. So I had to sort of try and make things work. And I landed a few odd jobs in various different industries. And before I knew it, I sort of got to think a bit more and think about what it is I really want to do, because my business ideas and ventures are not working. So I've always been quite interested in the online psychology of websites. so I thought to myself, I'm like, can I learn like marketing, but online marketing? And I came across this course. I took the course, and through various different things that had happened, I found myself in a job in doing the marketing for quite a big company in various different industries, mainly e-commerce side, and I really learned a lot there. And eventually, I got married from my wife. She's from India, and when she came to South Africa, she couldn't legally work. So our finances were quite tight, to put it mildly. I mean, we were actually quite struggling. It was enough sort of for me to get by, but not for both of us. And that sort of led me to think, okay, could I get a higher salary? Perhaps I could maybe work longer hours, maybe work on weekends, maybe sacrifice at night, and all of those things. And I thought, no, let me sort of explore the freelancing route. And because I had the marketing knowledge, I remember driving, to and from work, and I was highly frustrated. And I used to come home and tell my wife, and she could see I was so upset, and sort of frustrated. And she actually said to me, she says, why don't you study web development? Hence why the name Study Web Development. And she said, why don't you study that? I'm like, what? Like that's like such a foreign language, I don't understand it, like why, and before I knew it, I was persuaded to explore it, and I went on to Udemy. I studied a few simple web design sort of courses, HTML, CSS, and that type of approach. And then I just built a website called Study Web Development. I sort of shared a few tips on my journey on learning web development, and then I thought, okay, I need to earn some cash. I'm going deep in debt. I'm struggling financially. We've got some problems, So on the side, after work, I used to freelance. And maybe we can talk about how that approach worked, but I'll just give an overview now. And before I knew it, after a year, I was matching my full-time income by freelancing on the side. And then I left my full-time job probably about another 6 months or a year after that. I can't remember exactly, but I was still with the company for quite a while. And I've been full-time freelance ever since. I think it's about 5 or 6 years now, full-time. And that has led into, something beyond my imagination in a way. I mean, now we are, a full-time staff of 6. We also have a few other businesses. So it's really, quite amazing. I'm so grateful as in what it turned out to be, right now. And now literally I just sort of share what I know. We still have clients that we still work with, of course, and we still get more clients. So we're still sort of teaching what works for us. And now it's just sort of on a journey and a mission to help others become freelancers, help others gain more independence, help others, sort of stand on their own 2 feet and be their own boss in a way, and it's quite fulfilling. I must say, I'm so grateful for, what I'm actually doing. Like it's a blessing. I'm really grateful for it. So I hope that's sort of a brief overview.
That's a really like a good overview, and there are already some questions or parts that I'd like to ask more about. One of those is related to the skills that a freelancer should have, and based on what you just said, I can see some similarities actually to my own background. That it wasn't web development that you got started with, it was something else. In your case, it was marketing. You also, as I understand, learned about design, at some point about development. So it's like a range of different skills, not just one technical skill that to utilize. In your opinion, what are the kind of skills and character traits that one needs in order to get started with freelancing?
I think let's maybe address the skills part. So I would say, I mean, obviously this is a very common question, and my general reply to this type of question is, do not overcomplicate it. Don't try and think that you have to start with the 13 different JavaScript frameworks and then tomorrow there's another 27,000, you know. Just worry about learning something, for example, HTML and CSS or WordPress. I know it sounds foreign and I know people don't like it, but those are the facts, you know. All you need to learn is how to create a website. You do not need to be a master at JavaScript and Python and React and I mean whatever, you know. All you need to know is how to create a website, and that is the most important thing. I'm sure you want to add something to that quickly.
No, I'm just nodding here, and I totally agree with you. I mean, it's not your technical skills that your clients want. Your clients want some kind of product or a solution to a problem that they have. Usually, it's a business problem.
Exactly, and I think it's important to note, like, obviously I'm coming from a front end sort of web design approach. The back end, obviously, there's more exceptions to that, but in the context of where I'm coming from, I can only speak from experience in terms of what I do, you know. So my focus is very much the front end and web design approach. Although a lot of principles of certain freelancing things that we teach do apply to back end, from my perspective, and you know, my focus is very much front end and web design, as well as marketing for that matter. But generally speaking, all you need is HTML and CSS or WordPress knowledge, and that is enough to be able to start from a technical skills perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Because actually, when I started freelancing, I was like, even when I was working professional, I was freelancing, and when clients came to me, they were like, "Okay, we need a WordPress website." I didn't know WordPress, but I still agreed to take on the project and learned on the go. Okay, maybe it wasn't my best project, but the next one was already so much better. So it's I maybe get too ahead, but I believe freelancing is one of the greatest ways to learn from a developer's perspective.
Exactly, and you know what? That's actually such a key point that you bring up. You know, I mean, I speak to a lot of guys in the freelancing groups and you know, in DMs and messages and all of that, and so many opportunities come their way, and because they've got sort of what they feel is completely no knowledge on that topic, they would just turn down the project, even though they know it is a high-paying job with potential, you know, other clients and other leads. So it can literally, it's got the opportunity to literally scale the freelancing business drastically. And you know what they say? They're too scared. They're too overwhelmed because they don't know the exact 100% dots and the I's and the T's and the finer details. They get too overwhelmed. They get too scared. It's the fear of unknown. And they say, you know what? I can't do it. I'm not equipped. And the thing is, you know, to that personally, I know it's a bit difficult. One is to get out of their comfort zone. And actually, it's very much a mental block because, I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to it from a psychological point of view. Is it a schooling thing? Is it a parenting thing that you always have to try and be perfect in everything you do? Was there pressure in your grades that you had to do very well, and so on and so on? I don't know, perhaps, if you want to go deeper to the root core. But bottom line is, you need to be willing to take a risk and to take a calculated risk. And the best way to learn, as you said it, is to actually learn on the job. You learn as you go. And I love, Richard Branson actually said this. It's something I'm going to paraphrase it, so I don't get sued. But he says something along the lines of, like, if someone asks you if you can do it, just say yes and figure it out later. You know, and I love that approach. You know, for me, that's such a great freelancing approach.
I believe that Richard Branson himself built most of his businesses the same way. There's
Yeah.
this notorious story about how a Virgin what's it called, airplane or travel company,
Virgin Airways, maybe.
yeah, Virgin Airlines, how it got
Yeah.
started. He just saw that there's no planes flying. Okay, I'll just gonna rent a plane and we're gonna fly with the charter plane that we just rented out.
Yeah, I mean exactly, and also if I can add to that, obviously you need to use discretion, right? I mean, of course, but it's a lot easier to say yes to something and agree to it than not. So for example, I do not know how to make apps. Okay, we've never made apps for clients, but I can tell you now, I'm going to use an example of a case study, right? Let's just use a hypothetical case study. A client tells me, Kyle, you know what? We want an app. Can you build an app for us? You know what I'll say? Sure, no problem. I'll say, I'll get back to you in 3 days with a proposal. So obviously, in that time, I'm going to figure out a lot more about the app, ask questions. What do you want to do? That whole spiel. All that information. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire someone else. I'm going to outsource that task. I'm going to say, here's the project, here's the brief, quote me for it. A once-off fee, non-negotiable. So let's say he charges me or she charges me $1,000 for this app, or I don't know, $3,000. I don't know how much an app is. I'm just speculating. Let's just say $1,000 for now. All I would do is, in my mind, is I would think, okay, it's going to cost me $1,500. I'll add some extra buffer to that because maybe, there's some extra work on that. 1.5. Then you know what I'll do? I'll charge the client 3,000, or I'll charge the client 2,500. So there, I'll pocket 1,000 by project managing it with this other person, and by doing that, I'm learning at the same time. I've got a nice app that I can add to my portfolio, so that when other future clients ask me, I've already learned through that process. I've been paid to learn, right? I've been paid to learn. So now, and what's important here is you're not deceiving the client. You're not manipulating them to take their money and not deliver. At the end of the day, you're getting someone to deliver for you, but you're just being wise in terms of getting the money, paying someone else a bit cheaper, making a profit, delivering the product, win, win, win.
There are two very important topics that I can see a connection between here. First is product management or project management, and the second one is pricing. Regarding pricing, I know you're also a huge fan, if I can say that, for value-based pricing, meaning if you can charge based on the value that you provide to the clients. And I guess
Exactly.
It really resonates with what you just said. It's not a bad thing to take some fee between that you're connecting those dots, the app developer and the client, but you are the one that generated that value in the end. So it's, I'd say, completely okay to take that money.
Yeah, I mean exactly. I mean at the end of the day, it's all about the outcome, right? And if the client is paying for the outcome of an app or a website or anything, and you deliver that outcome, it doesn't matter who they pay or how much they pay. I mean, for example, let's say it's a WordPress website or an e-commerce website, and you need a certain plugin configuration. Are you telling me that it's wrong now to buy a plugin to help you code faster and be more efficient? Because they can pretty much get the job done in 1 day versus you coding for a whole month trying to configure this whole system. In my mind, it's quite stupid to be coding a full month when you can just buy a plugin for $100 and just save yourself a whole month of time. You don't need to tell the client that you're using a plugin. All they want is a website. They don't care about a plugin. So I don't know if I'm being too harsh here, but I mean, it is what it is.
No, I mean, now there are two parts in me. One part is the freelancer, the business person, and the other part is the developer. As a developer, obviously, I want to create new projects. I want to hack around. I want to, code. On the other side is the business person who thinks about time management, who thinks about how to generate more income. And
Exactly.
when I've spoken to people who have been freelancing, developers who have been freelancing, they understand, okay, it makes sense to use plugins, just make sure that it's a proper one and it has customer support and so on. But when I talk to developers who maybe haven't tried out freelancing, then, well, obviously it's easy to mock WordPress, for example, because it's lots of security holes and whatnot. But there's also a huge community out there backing the whole project, helping people who maybe aren't technically that savvy, helping them also to build businesses. So it's like,
yeah. So sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you there to finish your sentence.
I guess, I just wanted to finish the thought that basically there are like really two ways to look at it. But from a freelancer's perspective, in most cases, it makes sense to use those plugins. There are situations where building your own plugin makes sense, but in most cases, I'd argue better use existing solutions.
Yes. To that, my general answer would be 100%. I think the moment someone wants to become a freelancer, they need a different mental shift, right? I mean, when you become a freelancer, you are essentially a business owner. You should not think of yourself as a web developer. So although you are a web developer, more importantly, if you want to be good at freelancing, you need to think of yourself as a business owner. Because once you realize that time is money, time is enjoyment, freedom is important, then you realize that, look, I don't want to be coding, all the time, like Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday, if there's bugs, if there's issues, I'm the one who has to sort it out, I'm the one who has to ruin my weekend or not spend time with my family or whatever, work late at night and whatever. And look, I mean, you get a lot of people who want to do it. I mean, let them do it, so be it. But in the general sense, freelancing means freedom. You want freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom to spend time with your family, freedom to spend time on the hobbies, freedom to do whatever you want, pretty much. And the way to do that is to maximize the time that you have. If you can deliver the project in 1 hour versus 8 hours and still get paid the same, but just charge, $50 extra or pay $50 extra, that's a good move in my perspective, but I think it's very much a mental shift from like thinking smart and working smart as well, not versus like working hard,
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying totally makes sense. Is again, to bring an example from my own history, when I started out and I was learning to code, I wanted to build everything myself because I was really interested in coding. But now when I'm freelancing, freelancing is my side hustle, I want to minimize the time I spend on that. So again, it's like you said it really well. You can't think of yourself as a developer, but as a businessman or as a business person. And that's also, I guess, where the skill or necessity of skills, not only for development, but also marketing and sales and client, how do you handle the clients also comes in.
Yes, 100%. And also maybe if I can also just add, like, I mean, if you're a developer who charges by the hour, sure. I mean, it's great because I mean, this is the thing that I don't like about hourly, and I do not recommend it at all in terms of hourly billing, because what it does, think of it. Let's just boil it down to a simple logical perspective. It discourages efficiency. It discourages efficiency. If your knowledge improves drastically, and it takes someone, a junior developer who costs, I don't know, let's call it $50 or $30 or whatever an hour, the whole day, versus you taking, maybe 1 hour and $250, it can also even out, So I mean, what's the point of that? But more importantly, let's look at it from this side. you've got so many code snippets you could buy. You know, you've got so many libraries you could use. You've got so many plugins, certain software systems that you could just integrate, APIs and all these types of things, you know, that literally make a developer's job easier. So now you could think to yourself, wow, I shouldn't use this, because if I use this, I'm saving my time, and ultimately time is money for me, so I have to get paid. So why would I want to be efficient in using that when I could just bill the client my hourly rate for the 2 weeks instead of using something that I could just buy like that, you know? You understand?
Yeah. I haven't thought about it this way, but it totally makes sense. Because the more efficient you become, the more efficient you become, the more you in theory could charge per hour. And because you also get the work done faster, but at some point it doesn't make sense anymore. And
Exactly.
I can see it especially from a designer's perspective. Let's say a really good designer is asked to create a logo. They charge, let's say, 5,000 euros for that logo,
Yeah.
and maybe they come up with the idea in 5 minutes, but you still
Yeah,
charge
exactly.
5,000 hours because of the experience and background of that person.
Exactly. And you know, I mean the logo example is a great example, and also I mean if you think about it, like I mean let's face it, right? If someone came to you and said, look, Kismar, I want you to create me a one-page website. I wanted to, you know, to sell. I want to sell my you know, my beauty dresses or whatever. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I was just chatting to someone today about dresses as a fashion niche and all that. So that was just a random idea. But let's say that, and you know, say I've got 5 products. I want you to do it. Please set me up. You know, I want it on Shopify. Now, right? Think about this. If you got the Shopify knowledge and someone who's built Shopify, I've built it. It can be done in an hour or 2 hours, you know, if you really know what you're doing, you know, and you get the pictures and the images and whatever. Let's be generous. Let's call it half a day, 4 hours. So now, are you seriously going to charge a client for 4 hours of your time for a website? Are you telling me you need to create 44 websites a month to be able to get a salary? I mean, seriously, you know, you should charge for the outcome of the website. So, you know, I mean, you charge for the website, not your time on your 4 hours to create the website. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just laughing. 44 websites per month. It's doable. It's definitely doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
you really emphasize an important point, and I still connect it to the business person mindset, that you have to ask for the value that you provide. Because let's say you create the website in 4 hours. Let's say you charge per hour, I don't know, 500 euros, for example. But when your client is able to make millions using that website, it doesn't make any sense to charge just, you know,
Exactly.
500 euros. You should ask for a lot more.
Exactly. And you know something, I think one of the, I've come to realize one of the most important skills I believe that front-end developers, web designers, front-end developers, I don't care, should learn. I think it should be a non-obligate, I'm getting confused, but a non-negotiable skill is what's called CRO, conversion rate optimization. And if you think about it, like I just don't understand. I mean, I come across websites all the time. From, I mean, we all do, you know, and you come across and you're like, what happened here? You know, I mean, it's terrible. You know, I mean, the user interface is a joke. It doesn't make my job easier as a website browser. You know, it doesn't fulfill the business's goals of actually making more sales. It's just so confusing. I'm going to go somewhere else, you know, someplace that's a better user experience and so on and so on. And what CRO actually essentially boils down to is it's essentially the psychology of creating more effective websites, more effective websites for who? For the user as well as the business owner. The business owner wants to get more sales, more leads, and that type of thing. The user wants to maybe buy something, maybe get something, maybe put some information, maybe read something, maybe it's absorb some form of content or whatever, you know. And if you are making it difficult for the user, you're costing them and you're costing the business, you know. And I think a lot of developers just overcomplicate things and just sort of do all these weird and random sort of things, but they forget the core issue of actually what it is one is actually building, you know.
I'm trying to come back to to talk about things from a developer's perspective. So let's say that maybe I don't know much about design. I don't know about SEO and CRO. Are these the things I, as a developer, could outsource, or do I need to know them by myself?
Good question, and it's funny. I actually recently spoke about this in a tweet. But in short, right, there's two approaches here. So you can either learn it or you can outsource it. Now, I think let's just first address the overall picture here. Web development, you do not need to learn marketing. Let me put it that way. The reason why I stress marketing as a skill to learn is because of what I refer to as the valley incomes of when you freelance. So very often a freelancer's income is unpredictable. 1 month you can earn like that, the next month like that, the next month like that, the valley, you know. So you need to avoid this at all times. It's incredibly stressful. You don't want to be living like that. 1 month you earn a great salary, the next month you're not even breaking even, you know, and it's stressful. You don't want to be going through that. So what is the solution? Obviously, there's many solutions. You can just get more clients, that takes it, but it's just a bit challenging. It's quite stressful. So what I found the better approach is to get marketing retainer clients, which marketing retainer is a monthly marketing fee that the clients would pay you to perform specific services for them. What do I mean by marketing? I mean SEO, search engine optimization, ranking on Google. I mean Google AdWords, I mean Facebook ads, I mean LinkedIn ads, I mean Facebook posts, Instagram posts, ads, newsletter management, infographic designs. There's some other things that I'm missing, but there's a lot of other things. But in short, you know, you a one size fits all approach. So what you are doing is you're offering them the once-off service. Here's your website, great. How are you going to get clients? So this is where I will come in and say, here's the website, here's me, I can help you with the marketing, you know, the marketing is what is going to get you the clients, you know. So now, so I find, and it's funny, even this week I tweeted something like, you know, a lot of people think that you can get a $10,000 website project, and that's great, well done. But I think there's one better. I would rather go the $5,000 website project as well as a $1,500 monthly marketing retainer. And what I would then do is I would take $500 of that, outsource it to someone in a third world country, such as, I mean, there's plenty of them, South Africa, India, Brazil, Asia, Romania, all of those types of places. I mean, there's plenty of places. And before a lot of people, you know, get funny about me using third world country, the bottom line is it's just the facts. You know, you're taking advantage of economies of scale. And to a lot of people, $500 is a good amount of money. It's not a full-time job for them. I mean, they can pay their bills. You know, $1,000 for a lot of people in a third world country as a salary is a great salary, let me tell you. So, with that said, if you work it out, if you say $10,000 profit versus $5,000 plus $1,500 goes to my outsourced person that I'm going to do to handle the marketing tasks. That means I pocket $1,000 a month. What's 1,000 times 12? That's 12,000. 12,000 plus 5 is 17,000. 17,000 Rand profit versus 10,000 Rand profit. 7,000 is a lot of money. $7,000 is a lot of money. Times that by 5 clients sounds like a very nice amount to me, you know? So that's pretty much the thinking behind that. And the thinking behind it is eventually you should not be doing the work. But at the beginning, I would recommend that people learn marketing Why? I believe it's just a helpful, necessary skill to learn. And you can learn it on Google, on Udemy, on YouTube. I mean, there's plenty of resources on there. If you just type in any of those things, you'll find some great resources. You'll learn so much in such a short amount of time. And then eventually you start scaling. You start getting more clients. You start outsourcing more tasks to other people. And that's how you pretty much grow your freelancing business to get more freedom, but still get the same outcome and ultimately even earn more. If that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I got inspired, especially when I think about it. As an individual, I see that I need those skills in order to carry them out if there's a need. But eventually, as I understand, I should just find people that I work with together and I can outsource all the work to them. And maybe they even outsource it to their people. Who knows, right? But it's if I
Exactly.
can bring on a client and the client is willing to pay for me to solve their problem, it doesn't matter how I do it.
I mean, and obviously, I mean, there are exceptions. If you have to work on, confidential sort of topics, like for example, I mean, one of our agencies is in the medical niche, and in that sense, you have to be quite, you have to sort of know what you're doing in terms of handling patient information and all of that. But also, sometimes you have to sign NDAs or confidentiality agreements, or to say like, look, they need to know exactly who's working on the project. But I must say that's very much an exception, generally speaking, to it. In most projects, in most types of clients, you don't need to worry. All you need to do is essentially be the business owner, essentially be the project manager. Handle the task, outsource it to someone else, let them do it, deliver. You get paid at a profit, scale that. And that's pretty much the 80-20 of a freelancing blueprint if you want to scale. Because I've seen people, even family members of mine, who are freelancers, and for the past few years, they're exactly in the same place that they were 5 years ago or 4 years ago. And why? Because they're just doing all the work themselves. They are not wanting to scale. They're not wanting to outsource. They just want to keep the money to themselves. But little do they know that when a few clients leave, you're in a bit of a tough situation eventually, and you need to learn to eventually outsource tasks. I think that's quite an important skill to have, I would argue. And it actually boils down to a lot of things as well. Like, I mean, on a practical note, I mean, for example, like the guy who wants to cut his lawn or mow his lawn on a Saturday. So it takes the whole day to mow his lawn. But yet he doesn't spend time with his family. He doesn't spend time with his wife, with his kids, and so on. And for him in his mind, no. But I wanted to save that. I don't know, wherever you are in the world, I don't know how much, maybe $50 or $100. I don't know how much people get paid to cut lawn, and whatever. But I mean, let's say it's $100. I wanted to save the $100 so I could do it myself. But what you're doing is you're taking time away from important things in life, like time with your family, and I think that's important when it comes to freelancing. You can do that during the week. You don't have to wait until a Saturday or Sunday, to do those types of things. So yeah, I think I just want to maybe stress that point.
I can clearly see why people follow you, and why it's totally worth it to follow you and buy your books and go visit the website. Like, these are all the things that you say are practical and something that can be utilized. But we've spoken a lot about clients, let's say losing clients, and getting more clients. But if I were to start freelancing, what would be some practical tips that you would give to, let's say, less experienced people who haven't done it before?
Good question. So when it comes to getting clients, a lot of people get clients in various different ways. So what works for some people might not work for you. However, there are some blueprints that do work. So I think let me start off by sort of going the, sort of the simpler sort of approaches. And the simpler approaches that a lot of people neglect is literally just asking your friends and family. Start off by doing that and say, look, I'm a web designer, I'm a web developer. Let me create a website for you. And if they say, look, I don't trust your skills or something, then you say, look, let me just create it for you for free, but I want a testimonial from you. And what's important, in approaching clients is clients want to see what you've done for other clients. They don't want to be the guinea pig. They don't want to be your first client, really, as much as possible. So try and get friends and family members. Try and charge for a small amount just to get going, or do it for free. That's my first one. Now we can go into layers deep, right? I would say, I mean, first of all, you can get clients from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram, just sort of posting some helpful content, but I think if I can give like an 80-20 approach and answer, from my perspective, I think you need a portfolio website. Portfolio website, I'm not talking about a resume sort of CV website that you can get a job, like a full-time job. That's different. I'm talking about a portfolio website that convinces a client in their mind, I need to work with this person, and how you do that is, that's important. So you could start off by saying, as a general approach, say, I always use this sort of line, like say, focus on running your business while I focus on growing your business. Because that's essentially the core of what you're doing. You're offering a website and marketing service. So let that be sort of your headline. You got your websites that you've done for families. You put it there, examples. You've got your testimonials, and you say a call to action. Let's talk, let's chat, hire me, or get a free proposal, or whatever. Some form of call to action. There's your little portfolio website. Now what you do is, now you need to market your website, right? And this is where it's important. I actually recommend that people start by niching down their services. So what a niche is you're essentially saying yes to only a few and no to everyone else. So for example, I like using smilemarketing.com. They focus on dentists. Paperstreet.com. They focus on lawyers. Chiromax. They focus on chiropractors. SEO plumbers. They focus on plumbers. And all they focus on is web design and marketing. And they are great agency websites, or let's say, an approach of going, niching down your services. But to start off with, you can go the generalist approach, because at first, a lot of people don't know what niche to go into, why, how to do it, and whatever. Just start off as a generalist. That's perfectly fine. Get a few clients. Try and figure out, hey, I worked with this lawyer. I really liked how they worked. They paid me well. They're a bit fussy, but I can handle that. Versus a florist who's got a small budget, who's sort of not really into that type of thing, and you sort of learn as you go, right? Now what you do is you need to market your website. You need to market your services. So literally what you need to do is you need to be essentially where your ideal client is. So if you're focusing on small businesses, focus on Google, trying to get on Google AdWords. If they type in small business website, or business website in your local city, or in a New York City, wherever you're trying, if you're targeting New York or Chicago or wherever, right? Then you make sure that you rank on Google from an SEO perspective. Then you do Facebook ads, then you try Instagram ads, then you try all these types of various ads, right? LinkedIn and all of that. You're essentially putting out your fishing rod, and seeing what works. So if you get a few leads from Instagram, keep punting that and just keep going, right? But if I can say one thing that works quite well, and it's very important, it only works very well if you're doing a niche. I wouldn't say only, but I would say most of the time. So what you can do is email automation. And a lot of people think that the email outreach doesn't work, right? But it actually works really well. What you do is you get a software program called like Find That Lead. So just type in Find That Lead, and let's say you're interested in targeting, let's say chiropractors as a niche, right? So it comes to your mind, you just think to yourself, okay, I'm going to try and target chiropractors. You type in chiropractors on Find That Lead, it'll punt out a lot of different emails for you that you can target. You put those emails into a system called Mailshake or Lemlist. We use Lemlist, and you put it in. Now what you do is you've got this Excel document, and very important, you need to go through those, every single one, line by line, to look at their LinkedIn profile, to search them on Google, to look at their profiles and get to know them, sort of see what stands out to you. Let's say they wrote an article. You can say, hey, I loved your article. This stood out to me. Or, hey, I noticed you got an NGO. I want to congratulate you on that, maybe on their LinkedIn profile. Or, hey, what are some other compliments? I just watched your interview with so-and-so, and this part about X really stood out to me. So you're gonna spend 5 minutes researching about them, some compliment you can give them, and you're going to spend 5 minutes typing out the compliment in this field on your email platform. So what Find That Lead does is it pulls the name in an Excel sheet. It's got your compliment and it's got your call to action. So it's properly personalized and tailored message to them, right? So then what you do is you get it in and you say, hey, here's the compliment. My name is Kyle. I've helped other chiropractors just like yours triple their leads or their patients within 2 months. Would you like to chat? Short and sweet. Boom. Call Kyle. That's it. Boom, boom. As an example, and you send that email out to the hundreds of people. You should get about anywhere between 3 to 6 replies from that, because it's super tailored. It's customized. It's tailored. It's not one of these generic sort of emails that you get, hey, I do web design, cheap web design, and whatever. No, it's targeted. It's a compliment. And then what you do is they will reply. Out of those 3 to 6 leads that you get, you should at least convert 1 on the phone. It's that simple. And that's a very good winning blueprint. I've got a few more if you want to talk about Instagram or some other stuff, but I feel I've spoken a lot there. So maybe you've got some questions.
I'm just thinking this is some next level, because like I've given out some simple tips, like just tell your friends, post on Instagram, or just start writing to companies when you see a bad website that you think you could improve. But I can see that you're going to the next level, and I guess this is why you spoke about marketing before, right? To kind of learn about all those techniques in order to close the client.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about thinking smart. Once you realize that time is money, you want to automate as much as possible for it. For example, when it comes to outreach, right? Because outreach requires time. So what I found as a good method is Facebook groups. If you had to join targeted Facebook groups, let's say you focus on small businesses in New York or whatever, type in on Facebook, small businesses in New York, or chiropractors in San Antonio or wherever, in a specific city. Type it in on Facebook, join those Facebook groups, and just sort of get to know everyone. Post a lot of valuable articles and content that others might find helpful. Eventually, someone's going to say, hey, I need a website. Who are they going to ask? That's you. That's your call to say, hey, I can do it. And then you start pitching them. I keep using this example of the student who did this very well. I think in a month or 2 of doing that method, I can't remember if it was a month or 2, but just on Facebook alone, he got 8 clients just doing that method on Facebook, purely because of that strategy. And that strategy works, And then another one is although it requires a lot more time and everything, but it does work, is Instagram outreach. If you just go on your phone and look at it, if you search on the locations, maybe by a hashtag or a location specific of a city or something, and you look at coffee shops or small restaurants or whatever, and you click on them and you go to their profile and you click on their website, and because you're on your phone, if the website is terrible, and it's not mobile responsive, not mobile friendly, that's an opportunity for you, because that business is losing out on some cash and leads, right? So then you could just send them a DM, and don't make it too professional. Just say, hey, I just came across your website. I noticed you are losing out on sales because it's not mobile responsive. I've helped plenty of businesses with their mobile responsive to get more sales. Would you like to set up a call to chat? Boom, done. Something short and sweet, quite casual, and to the point. And that's obviously a numbers game. But now, for example, someone might think, that's a lot of time. You've got two different approaches. It might take 10 minutes for each lead, let's say, to go through. What happens if I had to outsource this to someone else, right? So you could also outsource that task if you think it through. And obviously, if you've got the finances and so on to do it, but if you think strategically, you might say, if I just pay someone for one day $100, to do this task for me, or maybe $100 is quite low, sorry, but let's say $150 or something like that for the day. They might send out 50 leads or 100 leads. I might get 2 interested people reply. I can convert one into a client, more than pays for that $200 that I spent. That's a profitable thing for me, So it's just about thinking differently about sort of those approaches as well.
I can really see similarities to regular investing. Firstly, you have to put in money to make money, and secondly, diversify.
Yes.
Get more clients, recurring clients that come back to you instead of relying on one or two big clients you have. But there's
exactly.
You mentioned about writing to clients, and I saw when you spoke about writing about how you could improve your clients' websites. I just want to put out there to the listeners that when writing those kind of emails, it's not about, hey, I know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's about bringing value. It's about what you can do to help your clients and help their businesses grow.
That's actually an excellent point, and I think, I mean, it's not to say. I sort of get frustrated with this question, but I can understand it. I can understand it because a lot of people are entering into the web development industry, and they've sort of been educated that way, that's actually the norm, right? Like, that's normal. A client wants to see, I know JavaScript. A client wants to see, I know CSS and all this stuff. But it's almost like if you've got a pen, right? I'm just looking at this pen. I don't start off by saying to you, whoa, this is very sharp. You need to be very careful. Don't put this near children that it goes in their nose, or don't eat it, or don't put it in your eye or whatever, Like, I don't start off with the negatives or like whatever, I start off with like the positives, like, whoa, look how shiny this thing is, and that type of, and the features and how it feels, and what I use it for, and the feeling I might get for signing a deal with it, or whatever, you sell the benefits of it. You don't start off by saying, whoa, look at this point, and that's essentially like what a lot of web developers do. They start by saying, I know HTML and CSS, boom, a client's going to say, bye-bye, I'm not going to carry on reading further, Start off by focusing on this part, and say, whoa, I can help you with a website, you're losing out on sales. Let's set up a call to discuss, non-obligatory call, and all of that. And that works, but again, I must just add, a lot of people are very lazy. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the time. They don't want to put in the automation. They try speak to 3 clients and they're like, oh, it's not working. You know, I've tried this and I've tried that. Give me a break. You know, I mean, you need to put in some effort. You need to do it properly and set up all the automations. Try different approaches. For example, LinkedIn ads. We found that targeting our medical niche in LinkedIn ads works quite well. So we tried messages. We tried certain approaches in messages. We tried images. We tried a direct approach. We tried a funny approach, you know, and funny enough, the funny approach got their attention, you know, so it's about, you try new things. You can't just say, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. No, try it and try something else, you know.
This is just pure cold here. I'm just checking the time that there's still like tons of questions I would like to ask, but unfortunately we are all time limited. But we have spoke about time a lot, about freedom, about the opportunities that freelancing gives you. So I have a question to you. You save time by freelancing, and you try to use other people to kind of make more income. What do you spend your time on, the time that is freed from, you know, not working?
Wow, good question. So for me, it's quite an interesting one because I love what I do. I'm trying to spend more time on it. You know, I'm trying to spend more time involved in the community, involved in Twitter back and forth, and all of that. I actually enjoy it, you know, in one sense. But one thing about me, I don't like too much structure, you know, so I don't like saying, okay, from 8 to 5, it's going to be like this and all of that. I like sometimes, you know, playing tennis, you know, I like sometimes spending some time, you know, with my wife, going for breakfast in the morning or in the afternoon or something, you know, just something random, or just reading, just chilling, or playing some chess, you know, you know, but from I mean, obviously that's my perspective, but also what I'm really focused on now is this year I'm more focused on growing the business, you know, in terms of the marketing agency, in terms of our e-commerce business, in terms of study web development, and the reason I'm doing that with my business partner and everything as well. My business partner is also my friend, and together we are focused on growing the businesses, you know, and because we want to grow and help and eventually slowly start hiring more people. We work with quite a few different freelancers and stuff, but I don't really call that like full-time jobs and stuff. But it's just to ultimately help more people, generate more income so that we can help more people. We aren't the types to have multiple, you know, homes and boats and all of that type of stuff, you know. I think a balance is extremely key, and it's just an amazing thing to be able to help more people and get the feedback from others. So that's what we're trying to push right now.
That's a great answer. And I guess to kind of finish things off, I'm gonna ask a question that I ask from all my guests. If you had to name one habit, yeah, oh no. If you had to name one habit that helps you to become a better person, then what is that habit?
I would say to question things. I would say to question things and to question people, to always be inquisitive, to be teachable, to wanting to learn. If you have an inquisitive mind, you have a growing mind. If you have a curious mind, it shows you want to attain more knowledge. It shows you want to improve. And I think in life, in business, and all of that, I think it's an underrated trait nowadays, where everyone has their strong opinions and all of these types of things, and always wanting to be proven right and all of that type of stuff. You know, I think being teachable, being inquisitive, asking why, asking more questions. I think that leads to a lot of good things. Learning, growth, improving as a person. So I would probably say that.
That's a great answer, Kyle. I'm genuinely thankful. I mean, I've been freelancing. I've worked on many projects, but I got so many new ideas here. And like to all the listeners, if you want to know more about Kyle, follow him in Twitter. He also has a website, studywebdevelopment.com, and he's also given out books about freelancing. So like pure calls. And Kyle, once more, thank you for sharing this information, and thank you for chatting with us here.
No, I mean, seriously, thank you, Kisma, and once again, I mean, I appreciate you. I appreciate the videos and everything that you do. So, and it was really an honor to be here. So, thank you so much, man. And yeah, I look forward to growing and improving in our relationship as well. And also, I mean, even the listeners, if they reach this far, thank you, and hope you maybe learned a few things from this chat, or at least it helped you maybe question things a bit more. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.